Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Create Your Custom Roadmap for Business Growth. My name is Michelle Eisenberg, and I am a program assistant here at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. And for those of you who may not know, the NASDAQ Center is a nonprofit building a better path for entrepreneurs worldwide by improving inclusion, access, and knowledge in entrepreneurship. So as you will see in the chat in a moment, the NASDAQ Center provides programs, resources, and exceptional mentorship to entrepreneurs across all races, industries, and geographies. So definitely make sure to check out those links and resources in the chat. And then just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. First, let us know where you are dialing in from in the chat. We always love to connect. And second, we are going to open up for live Q&A at the end of the event. So please make sure to submit your questions for us in that Q&A function at the bottom of your screen throughout the presentation, and we will try our best to get to all of them. And of course, none of what we do could be possible at the center without all of the amazing support from our sponsors, including NASDAQ, Lehigh University, Airbnb, KPMG, Wilson Sonsini, BPM, HubSpot for Startups, and Google Cloud. We are humbled by their contributions and hope you are grateful too. And so before we get started, we always like to launch just a couple polls to step back, see how everyone in the room is doing today. This first one is going to ask, how are you feeling? Fearful, anxious, surviving, or optimistic? We'll give it just a couple moments for folks to respond here. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I'll give it one more moment. Wonderful. I'm going to end this poll and share these results. All right, looks like optimism is coming up in the lead. Always great to see, but definitely have some feelings of fear, anxiety, and surviving as well. So I'm very confident our conversation and presentation today may help alleviate some of those feelings. I'm gonna stop sharing this poll and launch that second one. What is keeping you up at night? Finance, sales, marketing, scale, pivot, team, or surviving? And this one just helps us understand your current needs as an entrepreneur so we can make sure that the programs and resources we are developing are purposeful for all of you. Awesome. We got folks from New York, Jersey City, DC, Atlanta, Texas, Germany, Tennessee, Uganda, United Kingdom, California, Maryland. Awesome, awesome. Michigan, Baku, wonderful. Philadelphia, Connecticut, Nigeria, Azerbaijan. Welcome, welcome. So great to have all of you joining in. Ohio, welcome. Awesome. I'm going to end this poll and share these results. All right. Looks like sales coming up in the lead, but we got needs all across the board here. So thank you all so much for sharing. I'm going to stop sharing this poll, and without any further delay, please join me in giving the warmest welcome to our special guest, Celi Arias, Business Growth Strategist. Celi, it is such a pleasure to have you here with us today. Super excited for this conversation.
Hi. Hi, guys. Hi, Jane. Hi, Mickey. You guys are so
Got some
funny.
familiar
Hi,
faces. I love
Emily.
it.
Hi, friend. I call her friend because her last name's Friend.
Ah,
Thank you for that market research, Michelle. I just wrote down what's keeping people up at night. So, hi,
right.
Bomi. Oh my gosh. Hi, Reba. Yeah, so we're going to talk about why market research is so important. Thank you. I noted this down. Amazing.
Mhm.
I am Celi, like cell phone, call your Celi, super easy to remember, short for Celia. That's why everyone calls me Celi. And we're gonna get straight into it. Is that okay?
It. Yeah.
Okay, so these beautiful women here, Anna and Michelle, gave me a heads up into questions from you guys and what you most often ask about. And I sat with those questions and realized, oh, I have a framework that answers a lot of these questions. So we're going to do this fireside chat in a bit of a different way. I'm going to share my framework with you first about how to create a custom strategy. And then, Michelle, we're going to take questions and put me
Yeah.
in the hot seat, right?
Let's do it.
I know my clients are
Wonderful.
going to get a lot of pleasure from seeing me in the hot seat because I always put them on the hot seat. And I will get on the hot seat and answer your questions. So first things
Awesome.
first, I'm not going to go into about me and my history of being in business for over 25 years. Yes, thank you, Latina Skin. It is true. Or my last 10 years as a coach and consultant in operation strategy and scalable growth. If you want, take a picture, go to my website, read the about section, read the case studies, but I'm not going to waste your time. So we're going to jump right into the number one question that kind of started this whole conversation with the NASDAQ, which is what are the key elements that I should focus on to build a custom growth plan? To me, we always want one thing, right? We want to know the one thing that's going to answer our questions, that's going to fix it all. And to me, it's not one thing. That's why my newsletter is ironically titled Just One Thing, because we all want one thing that's going to fix our business strategy and our growth and make life easy, right? So it's three things. So I'm going to share with you my framework about how I think about strategy and how I think about business growth, and feel free to use it, take pictures, use it for yourself. And that's what we're going to get into today. And here it is. This is the trifecta for business transformation. I'm going to say something because some of you are in the audience and I'm going to shout you out. If I can give you a growth hack right from the bat, does anybody here have trouble hiring team or finding like the solid team that's going to support them and their mission and vision and what they're building in the world? Anyone? Yes. Okay. We got an immediate yes in the chat. Thank you so much, Kim and Molly. So I wanted to just shout out my team because I didn't come up with this image that you're seeing all on my own. And I think that's really important to say. I have a really unique method and I've been doing it for many years. And 2 weeks ago, somebody on my team said, we need to come together and talk about how we talk about what the Grown Ass Business is and what Celi does. So one thing I can say about hiring a supportive team is take my growth hack, hire some of your best clients. And if you are in the product industry, if you are making a physical product, beauty, fashion, whatever it is, hire your clients because they will understand what makes you special and what makes you unique more than any copywriter, marketer, outside agency. They are going to be on board for your bigger vision and mission. And they're going to call emergency meetings on your behalf to talk about how to talk about what you do. Okay, so thank you, because I know a lot of you are in the audience. We just came up with this very, very recently. And I was like, great, this is what I'm going to talk about for the NASDAQ. This is the trifecta for business transformation. This is what apparently I do. I combine a unique custom strategy for you, taking action. Please notice I did not say implementation or execution or use all the cool businessy words. I use simple, non-rhetoric words for a reason. All right. Taking action. What are you taking action on? Number 3, the tool, which we're going to get into. And at the center of that is what I like to call a grown-ass business, or how you create transformation in your business. Now, there is this very important bubble around the trifecta, which is your mindset, your leadership style, your CEO style, and I'm going to get into at the end why that's important. So we're going to break these down one by one and what I mean by strategy, action, and the tool. All right, cool. Thanks, Val. That is so nice. So strategy, this is what we're here for, right? We're here for how do I make my custom strategy that's going to, thank you, Cecilia. How am I going to grow my business in my unique way? What is the path for my business? What is the way that I do this that is true to me and grows my revenue and ultimately scales me and makes my life easier, right? All right, so we're going to get into how I think about strategy. This is the easiest way I can think about it. All right. Even if you are a solopreneur, can you tell me in the chat who's a solopreneur in the room? Just say yes. Yes, yes, yes. No slides. Somebody said they're not seeing slides. Let me know if you are seeing the slides. Let's make sure everybody can see the slides. Okay. Whew. Thank you. We can see the slides. All right. So even if you are a solopreneur, I love you. This still applies to you. Okay. The way I think about strategy is if in a dream world, I had a head of department for all the key departments of business growth, what would they do? What would they be in charge of? What do they own? What are they responsible for? And what metrics are they measuring and what are they looking at? Now, if you are a solopreneur, you better believe this is you. So this is why I intentionally simplify how we build strategy because it can be done by one person if we understand the departments, how they are connected, and what each one does. Sorry, I am a person who loves to follow in the chat. So if you see me get distracted, it's because I love to answer all questions in real time. Yes, Robert, email me. Yes, Kim, you are right. So I'm going to talk to you real high level. What are the things that each person is responsible for? Okay. The CEO seat. The CEO, which is not always you, by the way. For a long time, I was a COO and I started running my business as if I was still a COO. We can talk about that offline. One of my biggest mistakes in business. The CEO is the visionary. Okay. They have a clear vision for the future. It is not an idea. It is not in their head. It is written down. They have at least a 3-year vision plan written of what the business looks like in the future, at least 3 years. Not 10, because then it gets too big and too unrelatable. And I like actionable business visions. Obviously, you're seeing a theme. I'm all about action. So, but they hold the vision. They've written it down. They've shared it with their team. And if they're really bold and beautiful and brave, they've shared it with the public. That is what a CEO does. That is one of the main things they're responsible for. Also, bonus, great CEOs are great motivators. They get everyone on board the train. They get their team, their audience, their clients excited about the vision that they're building, right? They get everybody on board and excited. So they are great motivators. And here's one of my favorites. A great CEO has great discernment. Okay? Discernment to me is a two-parter. Discernment means this is a whole conversation in itself, guys. So just know I could go off on this one thing for an hour. But discernment means, am I solving the right problem? Because a lot of times we spend a lot of time solving the small problems that take up our time and energy, but don't, for lack of a better term, move the needle in our business. Okay. So discernment, a CEO really can look at themselves and say, wait, am I solving the right problem right now? Or am I getting into my to-do list and my busyness and my addiction to busyness and productivity? Because we all love scratching things off our to-do list and we love feeling productive. All right. And the number 2 part of discernment is this a mindset problem or is this a strategy problem? Now, For those of you who are my clients, you guys know I could talk about that all day as well. But that to me is what a CEO can do for themselves and then for people on their team, is that they can catch in themselves when they're being held back by their own limiting beliefs, past experiences, emotions, and they can also see it in their team and coach them through it. That's the CEO seat. All right. As you're listening to these, by the way, I want you to pay attention to which of these sounds most like you, because it's going to be important for our next slide. The COO, my favorite seat, is the right hand of the CEO, and they are the person who is running the show. So remember how we talked about the CEO getting everybody on board and on the train? Well, the COO, I was told by a board member once that my job was to literally shovel the coal on the train and throw it into the furnace that keeps the train running. That was my job. It sounds dirty and messy and ugly and hard. And yes, if any of you have been COOs, you feel me. So you keep the engine running. To me, an ideal COO owns the metrics that the company at large are looking at. So what metrics is each department measuring to make sure that each department is running and moving forward? They're also the person who loves making systems and processes that make life easier on everyone, whether it's themselves, the CEO, the team members, okay? And ideally, they're using systems and processes that are easy to use for everyone. And they are the person who reads the data, reads the metrics, and maybe presents to the CEO what the metrics are saying. Cool? Oh, I'm so glad, Jane, that you have learned to love being a CEO. That's great. Okay, the CFO, some of you said earlier that finances was one of the things keeping you up at night. So let's get into it. The finance department. If you are running a business, whether you have a CFO or not, you need to know, what is your cash flow? Are your offers profitable? Do you have core capital? Do you have a pricing strategy? Is your pricing strategy profitable? Do you have clear financial goals? Do you have a model that allows you to hit those financial goals? And do you know what your sales projections are? Have you created a model that shows what your sales projections are for everybody on the team? Fun job. I know that's the CFO role. And the CMO role is where most creative entrepreneurs love to live, because content, we all think content is a strategy, but content is just one seat of our overall strategy, right? Here's what a CMO owns, though. Before they ever come up with a content strategy, they own product market fit. Okay? Product market fit means that you're speaking to the right people. You've made a product that they want at a pricing strategy that makes sense for them, but also makes sense for the growth of your business. That you have messaging that speaks to all of those previous 4 prongs in a model that's scalable. That's product market fit. So a CMO is first in charge of, do we have product market fit? Do we know who our people are? Do we know what they're saying? Do we know what they're talking about? Do we know what they want? Right? That information helps me to build a marketing campaign. It helps me to figure out where they are so I know what channels I want to be on. It helps me to build a campaign that speaks to them and speaks their language. And then I measure those campaigns to see if they're working. So now you guys know why I wrote down on my sticky pad how you guys answered that question, what keeps you up at night? Because that is one of my questions that I ask my clients and my audience and my leads all the time. What keeps you up at night? Why do I do that all the time? Because I am always refining and working on my product market fit and making sure that my products, my programs, my marketing speaks to my people. Okay, you all said sales at number 1, and we're going to get into that. Cool, you're with me so far? The last prong of strategy is the chief revenue officer or head of sales. And this person owns the sales process. What is my sales process? What does it look like? Where is my sales pipeline? Do I have a sales pipeline? Do I know how many people are in my sales pipeline? Do I know the value of my sales pipeline? Do I know the probability to close of all my people in my sales pipeline? Okay. And ultimately, what is my conversion rate? Those are the things that a CRO owns. And obviously, those are all ways to measure whether is my sales department performing and closing or not. Okay, amazing. So I told you, hey, I would really love for you to, as you listen to the core responsibilities of each department, and this is how we build a strategy, is we take into account all the departments and everything that's going on for your business. I said, let me know which one feels most like you. So somebody is over there screaming on CFO. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Don't feel bad, Kim. There's a lot of MBA students who take my program, and I have an MBA, and I didn't learn this stuff in my MBA. Just saying. So don't worry. Okay. So tell me in the chat, guys, which seat is the seat that you are the most comfy in sitting in around the table? Okay, we got a CEO. We got a lot of visionaries in the room. That's right. This wasn't a trick question, but yeah. Good. CEO and COO. Amazing. CMO. Yes, yes. Okay, amazing. So I expected CEO and CMO, so I'm happy to see some COOs in the room. Thank you. Shout out to my coal pushers. Yes, I think CRO. Okay, great. Good. Now people are going to start DMing you, Kim, for help. Okay, so now that we know that, I want you to know what I'm going to say about this is it is very, very normal to start a business based on that seat that you're most comfortable in. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being strong in one department. That's actually amazing. That's what's going to get you to a certain place, right? And then to build out an actual business strategy, there will be a point where you're going to hit an invisible ceiling, but don't worry, it's temporary. Your strengths, what you bring to the table, literally, what you bring to the table with your strengths are going to get you far. And I want you to lean into your strengths. And then at a certain point where you start feeling, oh my gosh, why can't I get past this revenue number? Why can't I get past this sales problem? Or why can't I? When you start feeling that, it's not a marketing or more content problem. It's oh, I need to broaden my table and my knowledge and build out the other departments of my business. Okay? Yes, Eric, that's very fair. I actually need a CTO right now, so very fair if you are in tech or digital strategies. But this is just for business growth strategy. What is the road to hitting our revenue goals? So that's what I want you to think about. When I put together custom strategies for my clients and I teach them how to do this for themselves, we look at all those key things that a department owns. And that's how you build out your custom strategy, because everybody in this room has a different product, has a different audience, has a different pricing model, has a different way of delivering, right? Has different goals. That's how you build a custom strategy. Okay. Part 2 of custom strategy, taking action. This is near and dear to my heart. I will say this. I feel like I'm cheating myself, but I have a program called the Grown Ass Business Accelerator where we go through this whole model that I just showed above. And at the very end of day 4, I say, okay, what's the secret to success? And everyone gives me such smart, brilliant answers. They're like, the dashboard, use the numbers, use your metrics, use your plan, product market fit. Oh, it's going from the vision. Like everyone gives brilliant answers. And no one ever says taking action. Not once. I've run this program 8 cohorts now. No one ever says it. The secret to strategy is Did you make a cool strategy and walk away from it and do something else? Or are you actually working the strategy, measuring the metrics and seeing, is it working? Is the plan that we laid out for us, is it working? And if not, are we flexible enough and adaptable enough to look at it again every quarter and shift it? So,
Hey, Kelly, we just had a quick question
yeah,
from the audience that I thought was really interesting. This person is asking, what if they don't feel comfortable in any of the C seats? Should they learn to fit into one of them or maybe hire out someone with more experience?
that's a great question. I have I have questions in return. I'm assuming you're a solopreneur if you ask that question and you are starting a business.
I would
Say
assume so.
yes or no in the chat. Um, One of the things that's really strong, what's really important about what we just saw, by the way, is now you know. And like G.I. Joe said, knowing's half the battle, right? Now you know. So what I would do is, what are my strengths? And maybe if you are somebody who's developed a product or a unique methodology, if your strength is the visionary and creating something, I would lean into the CEO seat and ultimately hire for the other seats or take a program that helps you develop out the skills in the other seats. If that wasn't a clear enough answer, please ask more questions and I'm happy to expand on that. But
Yeah,
that's what I
super
would do.
helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So taking action. I know we have like tons of things on our to-do lists. And if you are below 1 million in revenue, there's really only two things I want you to be doing. And this is it. Number one, if you've ever seen any of my content, you know I say this a lot. Deliver on your promise. That should be your number one rule. If you are selling a product, a service, an experience, tech, may it deliver on the promise. Because what that does is that creates raving fans. Raving fans don't only become great team members who support your vision, raving fans also turn into referrals. And I know referrals, we dog on referrals a lot and say, I want a non-referral based business, but referrals are the way business has worked for millennia. So don't dog on referrals. Number one rule, deliver on your promise, blow people away, make them raving fans. Number two thing that you should be doing is learning about product market fit. If you are selling a product and delivering on your promised result, then everything else you should be doing is, do I know what my product market fit is? Do I know exactly my person? Does my product answer their problem? Do I know my pricing strategy that works for them and works for me? So everything that you should be doing right now is collecting testimonials, case studies, feedback, get on voice of consumer calls, talk to your clients, talk to your ideal audience, learn from them, get that product market fit right. The reason I'm so diehard on this is because most business owners, solopreneurs specifically, we create a thing in the world. We make a baby and then it's our baby and it's precious and we don't like getting feedback about it, which is why it takes the average business owner 3 to 5 years to get product market fit right. But here's the thing about product market fit. If you get product market fit right early on, remember, this comes in the CMO seat, right? If you get it right, you can then turn on the switch, turn on the light switch in your marketing department. Imagine walking into a building and it's dark in your marketing department and you're like, well, here you go. I now have product market fit. I know exactly what it is. You can turn the light switch on in your marketing department and your marketing is going to work. Your campaigns are going to work. You're going to start attracting the right leads. It's now time to run ads and not before having product market fit. I dog on ads a lot. I don't think ads are wrong, but they amplify whatever it is you're putting out there. So if you're putting out messaging that isn't your right messaging, you're just amplifying and spending money on something that's not correct for your business. If you have product market fit, your marketing department light will go on and that machine will hum. Anything else that you are spending time on is not what's super important in this stage. Okay? Good? Questions? Okay. Ooh, everybody feels called out. It got silent in the chat, so everyone's like, ugh, I'm not spending time on these things. Okay, here we go. And then part 3, the tool. So what is the tool? For me, this is something that I have built and I'm turning into software. But for me, it's, do I have all of these pieces that are measuring all of these departments and what these departments are supposed to be doing all in one place, right? Do I have my overview of product market fit? Do I have my vision? Do I have my numbers, my goals, my profitability, my cash flow, my sales projections, my core capital? Do I know my conversion rate? Is it all living in one place? That would be the dream, right? Do you have a tool that does this? This is something that I've built in my program because we're always hunting for these things and we're not sure about these things, but your metrics are important. They actually just tell you what your metrics tell you are, is all this efforting? Is all this to-do listing that I'm doing? Is all this work that I'm doing? Is it resulting in something? Am I closing clients? Am I doing the thing? That's what metrics are for. They just tell us all that effort, is it doing something or not? So do you have a tool that tells you all these things? These are my favorite. What are my goals? This is how I think of conversion rates, is how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? That's how I think of sales conversions, which what I mean by that is, how many leads do I need to attract? How many leads do I need to talk to in order to sell something? That's conversion rate. So if you're ever thinking, what is conversion again? How many licks does it take? Mr. Owl. And now you guys know how old I am. I just gave it away. Core capital is, do I have enough money in the bank to cover my expenses for 3 months minimum if something were to happen, or if we were just to turn sales off for whatever reason? Are my offers profitable? Many people are running a business without profitable offers. I'm just going to drop that right there. And then bonus round, do you know your LTV to CAC? So lifetime value of a customer ratio to cost of acquisition of said customer. Okay, so do you have a tool that measures all of these things all in one place? And that trifecta is what I call a transformed business, or lovingly called a grown-ass business. Now, the fourth elephant in the room is mindset. I am also a certified mindset coach. I became a mindset coach years ago because I was a business coach for a large coaching company, and I found that no matter how good my strategies were and how good my tactics were, people would get stuck and not take action. And I wanted to undo that and my COO engineering brain wanted to understand why people weren't just taking action on the plan. And I discovered this thing called mindset. So the way that I think about mindset and why it's a key element of your custom strategy plan is because your mindset is going to affect the strategy plan that you lay out for yourself. Your mindset is definitely going to affect if you take action on said plan. And your mindset can even influence how you read the data, which is really interesting because they say numbers don't lie. But has anybody ever read like a social media data report and been like, I think I can spin this story to still make myself feel good? Has anybody done that, or been in like a corporate sales meeting and spun the numbers to defend their argument or their story? Because I have done that. So your mindset is something that ultimately plays a role in all of these key elements. And it's why I think it's a very key part of building a custom strategy. Remember what I said, a great CEO has discernment of understanding when something is a mindset problem. So I have to understand in my business, ooh, that's a Celi thing. Oh, I don't want to post that video because I'm aging and look weird. That's a Celi thing, not a content strategy thing, right? Or I don't want to follow up a third time because that feels salesy. And what would people think if I came off salesy? That's a really popular one. That's a mindset thing, not a strategy thing. So mindset actually plays a really big part on whether you take action on all of the three elements that build your custom strategy. That's why I have it as the mother, if you will, the hugger of all. Okay, so that's it. That's how you create a custom strategy. If you want to talk about it, if you have questions and you're like, okay, break it down for me, what do I need to do? Take a picture and we can chat about it. It's probably the easiest way to do it. And then now I get to get put on the hot seat and I get to answer questions, right?
Yes, absolutely, Sally. Thank you so much. That was such a great overview. Love the framework. And we obviously see a bunch of people sounding off in the chat. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's just dive right in. So I guess just to start off, what are, from your experience, some of the most common risk factors that could really derail a growth strategy like this, and how can entrepreneurs proactively address these risk factors? And if you have any examples from other startups, like just any lessons that entrepreneurs could learn from startups that have kind of struggled with their growth strategy.
Yeah. That's a really broad question and it depends on industry. Okay, so I'm going to give you a broad answer and then try to give you some
Totally.
examples. Are we cool with, did everybody get the QR code if you want to ask me questions? Did everybody get it? Can we we don't need
Yeah,
to. Okay,
absolutely.
amazing. Okay. Yay. Um, I think one of the biggest pitfalls is we have an ability to convince ourselves that we are solving the right problem and that we're doing the right things. The hardest thing about business strategy and growing a business is being honest with ourselves. And sometimes in our business strategy, we're going to do things that, like somebody asked, right? If I don't have any of these skills, what do I do? One of the hardest things I see is that we tell ourselves we're working and we're doing the thing, but we're not actually solving the right problem at the right time. And the mystery to business growth and scalability is just right problem, right time, over and over and over again. Right problem, right time, right problem, right time. So I always say, like, no to ads, no to a fancy website, no to funnels, no to all that until it's time for that, right?
Mm.
So you'll hear me dog on a lot of things and say, don't do that, don't do that, put that down, don't do that. And then one day I'll be like, okay, now it's time for you to rebrand. And my client might be like, you are the queen of do not rebrand. Well, you just weren't there yet. We often, what I see people do is belabor their logo and their branding and their gorgeous website early on, when early on, what you really need to do is, if you guys have been paying attention, what do you need to do? Do I have product market fit? Which means, can I talk about my thing? Can I sell it? And can I do that again and again and again? And every time I sell my service, product, or offering, I figure out what my product market fit is by taking that action. And it didn't happen from having a gorgeous website. So here's some examples of that. When I first started doing this like custom growth strategy program where I teach clients how to do this, it's now called the Grown Ass Business Accelerator. But when I first started, I didn't have a website. I didn't have a landing page. I didn't even have a way for people to check out. And I did that intentionally because my clients at their time were obsessing about the copy on their landing pages and everything being perfect and everything being branded. And I was like, okay, I'm going to launch this new thing. I'm going to run the beta. I'm not going to have any of those things in place. Watch. And I sold it. And I sold it at a beta price. And I sold 22 people the first time that I ran it at a paid. I ran a beta first for free for a small group of friends to make sure that the content, because it's intense, we go through everything I just shared. I tested to make sure that I can deliver on my promise. And then the first time I ran it at a beta with no landing page, hadn't even had Stripe set up.
Oh, wow.
What? And then the second time I did it again without a landing page
Yeah.
because I was kind of being a brat and out to prove my point, right? You can make money without being famous on social media. You can build a healthy business without doing launches. You can create revenue if you stick to the principles of business and doing things at the right time. So that's number one. And I will give you another example. This is like the creator's plight. So everyone who said that they resonated with the CEO seat, you're usually a creator and a visionary. I used to be a COO for like a lovely, brilliant person and ran a company for several years. It was a digital product. It was a SaaS product, but she was constantly creating new products that were physical products. I come from supply chain and manufacturing and physical products, so I was well versed in creating physical products, but these new products we were putting out into the world, we didn't know if we had product market fit for them. But it was just like, I want to make CBD oil because I know it's the new hot thing. This was like 7 years ago. So then that was very edgy to say. And we did, and we put that product, but it didn't do well. It didn't sell. And then we were paying for storage and shipping and all those things rather than sticking to our digital product and the content partnerships that we could create with that. So a lot of times it's the plight of the creator will slow you down in your business growth. I'm saying this because some of you all are my clients in the chat and you know who I'm looking at. I'm looking at you. We want to create the next product, the next course, the next program, the next thing, because we are creators at heart. And it is one of the hardest things to do as a visionary is to like slow the roll, put your creative juices into these departments. And so that's why I always try to gamify everything and make everything fun. Believe it or not, I make numbers fun because I need you to gamify the game, or I make creating a sales projections. My sales projection tool is intentionally gamified because I need you to start pouring your creativity and your passion and your love into these other parts of your business rather than creating a new product.
Yeah.
So those are the two things that I would say I notice a lot.
Love it. So many great points there, and love that you just emphasize this idea of honesty. And I know, a lot of entrepreneurs are, really trying to hone their strategy and collecting reliable customer feedback and get that kind of honest criticism to grow their business in ways that are meaningful for those that they serve. So thank you so much for emphasizing that point. And we have we have a couple.
Nice to
Oh,
see your name.
awesome. We have a couple other questions here that are kind of around like tools and technology. So can you talk maybe a little bit more about how technology or automation can be leveraged for business growth and any potential risks of over relying on technology and how entrepreneurs can kind of mitigate those risks?
Yeah, absolutely. It's why I developed my tool because I found that most of my clients and most small businesses have things all over the place and their energy is dispersed. And we spend a lot of time and energy on trying to get a tool to work. People ask me all the time, what CRM is the best CRM? What project management tool is the right project management tool? Like which one is the best? And my answer is always the one you use, the one you're going to use. I love me a ClickUp board. I am a ClickUp nerd and I am the first to throw myself under the bus. When I have a busy week, my ClickUp board looks like lists on Post-its. And that's the truth. So, do I spend a lot of time building out my ClickUp and making it super fancy or even asking my team to do so? No, because it's not something that I model. It's not something that I do well. I don't ask my team to do it. So I think that in terms of tools and tech, is there tech that you are actually using to the fullest potential of that tech, or do you have it because you think you're supposed to have it? I know that's like the non-popular answer to this question, but a lot of times we're paying for a lot of tools that we don't use, and we're using certain tools to 10% or 15% of what they're capable of. So I just try to remove anything that I'm not actually using. And that's why I'm creating a tool that actually houses all of the data that I mentioned before. That's why I'm creating that tool because it doesn't exist. We have our finances and numbers in one place. And honestly, if you're reading P&Ls to understand how your business is doing, you don't actually know how your business is doing. We look at our leads in another place. We look at our project management tool in another place. We have a CRM in another place. So that's my answer to that. And if anybody has like specific tech questions, I'm happy to get more specific, but that's how I feel about tech.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it is really like so it's different for every business, and you're really gonna have to do it, analyze the work that you do specifically to determine what is the best course of action there. So great insight. And then we have a couple of entrepreneurs who are kind of wondering about how to weave revenue success into the growth strategy, especially, for those who may not feel so comfortable in that CRO role.
Mhm.
And there was one person in particular that was asking about, how do you kind of navigate business growth when you are running a business with significant fixed expenses? How do you kind of um, craft a trajectory towards revenue success?
Yeah, absolutely. I do this actually all the time in my program. So the way that I think about that, what I'd like to do, and whoever asked that question, pull out a piece of paper. I'm old school. Like all of this stuff, most of the stuff you can do on a piece of paper. You don't need any fancy tool, honestly. But how I would think about it is on the left side of the piece of paper, write down all of those monthly expenses. Number one, understand what your expenses are. And then from there, how many offers are you selling? How many products are you selling? How many services are you selling? So you take that number of, this is a very rudimentary, basic way to do this, guys. For all of my like numbers people out there, don't judge me. But I make it basic intentionally so we get really clear on this specific question. Let's say I have 5 products. I want to take that number of my total monthly expenses and divide it by 5. And I want to know that my products are priced in a way where I cover a fifth of my expenses per product, right? And that I make profit. And by the way, in that monthly expense list, it's not just tech and tools and electricity and internet. It's also what you're paying yourself, right? And what you're paying your team. So then I would divide that by how many offers I have, how my offers are priced, and are my offers actually covering my expenses? If I were to sell one of each per month and my offers paying me, are they covering my expenses and making a little bit of profit to put back into the business to have core capital?
Yeah.
Right? So don't do the thing that Jane just mentioned in the chat of hoping there's a little bit left over at the end of the month so you can take whatever's left. No, no, no. Are your offers priced in a way where you're covering your expenses and paying yourself and paying your team? If you do this basic math on a piece of paper and you're like, oh crap, well, cool. That's what I meant earlier about profitable offers. No big deal. Now we know your offers aren't necessarily profitable for the business that you're running. And then you get to make decisions whether you're making decisions about your expenses or if you're making decisions about how your offers are priced.
Mhm.
And then if you want to get super nerdy, I would take those numbers, take that new pricing strategy, and I would put it into a sales projections sheet. So now I kind of have a plan for the year or for the quarter and go, okay, to cover my ass for the next 3 months of this quarter, I need to sell this many hair scrunchies, this many earrings, this many t-shirts for each month for the next 3 months to cover myself, pay my team. That's what a sales projections tool is, right? If you have back data from previous years, great. We use that data to learn how did we do last year so that we can improve this year. But the sales projections tool is also something that's pushing you to, okay, we bare minimum, we got to sell 3, 3, and 3. let's say. So that's how I would do that.
Yeah, wonderful. I love kind of the simplified breakdown of this process. And I know so many entrepreneurs in the audience are first time founders. So really great insight there. Awesome. Awesome. We have somebody in the chat asking about product market fit. Maybe if you could dive a little bit deeper into that, some of the metrics that entrepreneurs might look at to determine product market fit. This person is kind of wondering, is it as simple as just looking at what folks are buying and which products or services are getting the most attention, or is it more complex than that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. There's a great book on this that is very, very detailed and intense. And if you don't want to get overwhelmed, I don't recommend it. But what I would say is product market fit. The easiest way to find product market fit is first talk to your people. So again, interview your current customers, interview your past customers, interview people who said no. Interview, this is the hardest part. This is why we don't like product market fit work, because we don't want anybody to judge our baby. My baby's the cutest. What do you mean? Right? Interview the people who said no. Kindly ask them for 10 minutes of their time. Ask them I have 3 to 4 questions that I ask my people. One of them happens to be, what keeps you up at night? Right? So now I know for all of you, it's sales, finance, and surviving. My favorite subjects. Now, my new favorite subjects. Thank you very much. Do you see what I did there? I took that poll and already from an audience of people that I love to work with, I understand that people are stressed out right now about sales and what's happening in the world. Finance, by the way, if you're stressed out about sales, it's always a symptom of something else. Hop over to the other department. If you're having trouble in sales, it's a symptom of you don't have product market fit. How do you know when you have product market fit? When you put your product in front of a person, when somebody experiences the packaging and the messaging on the packaging, or they experience you on a sales call, you don't have to push, you don't have to get salesy, you don't have to get uncomfortable. They're just like, I'm in. How much does it cost? That's when you know you have product market fit. When you start having an easy time selling the thing that you do or sell, that's when you can go, okay, I know my 3 key messaging points that really work for my person. And this isn't like sneaky or manipulative. This is that I've gotten to know my person so deeply that I know what speaks to them. I know what works for them. Now I could turn on ads. Now I could run bigger campaigns. Now I can turn on that light in that department because I know if I say this to you, you're going to be like, how do I sign? Where do I sign? How do I get that? I need that in my life. Please give it to me. Give it to me. That's product market fit. If you are getting on sales calls and getting lots of no's, good job. Amazing. No's mean you're working on what is product market fit for me. So instead of getting a bunch of no's and getting down on yourself, actually go, great, that was amazing data. Something I'm saying or the way I'm messaging this or the way I'm positioning this is not landing for my ideal person. That's product market fit, right? It's the right people, right product. Does my product actually deliver them a result? So you got to see, like, after someone's experienced your product, are they happy to give you a testimonial? Are they happy to be featured in a case study? Are they happy to give you feedback? Are they comfortable giving you feedback? That's how you know if you have the right product. Right price. Here's how you know if you have the right price. If your conversion rate is higher than 50%, you think you're crushing it? No, that just means your price is probably a little too low. Right? So, and if you are having trouble selling, you got to make sure you're talking to the right people, you have the right product, you have the right messaging, and you have a price that they go, okay, yeah, I can do that. Okay, yeah, I see the value, I can do that. So it's how are you measuring all those pieces? Oh, great, you shoot for 40, very good standard conversion rate. So you have to be measuring all those things. How do I know if I'm talking to the right people? Did you just talk to somebody on a sales call and try to sell them, but then walk away going, oh, I'm not actually sure I want to work with that person. That person might drain me. then it's probably not your people. Product market fit to me is a five-pronged um, system in itself. And it's measurable by measuring how you're doing in each of those areas.
Awesome. That's super helpful. I love all the simple frameworks. Wonderful. I think we have time for one more question. And I just for entrepreneurs, every entrepreneur wants to find sustainable growth for their business. But long term, things are going to evolve, customer behaviors are going to change. And so how can entrepreneurs think about maybe evolving their growth strategy without disrupting team flow or organizational stability?
Evolving without disrupting team flow. Did I get that right?
Yeah. I guess, when you have a business that's growing long term, and I think this entrepreneur is asking about, the strategy might change at some point in there due to some market dynamic or customer preference. Um, and so how, I guess this person is asking, how do you kind of just ensure that your team stays on track and you as a leader stay on track?
Yeah, I think that again, if you are that visionary CEO, part of your job is to get everybody hyped up and excited about the train that they're on. And so if the strategy is changing in some way, whether the product is changing, the offering is changing, the way you deliver is changing, whatever it is, that you can get people excited about that change. And the truth is, as you grow, and this is painful to say, even for myself, because I absolutely love the people on my team and who I work with right now. But as you grow and shift and evolve, and your product shifts and your audience shifts and who you serve shifts, it may not be the right team anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think that one of the easiest ways to do that is allow your team to still choose if they want to be on this train or not. Right? The train's getting an upgrade. We're putting in leather seats and we're putting in a bar at the back and we're changing the wheels and the brakes and also here's going to be what's expected of you because it's a new high-speed train and your role has changed, expectations on you have changed. One, can you still hack it? Do you still have the skills? Are you still down? Can I coach you and up-level your skills? Are you coachable? Are you willing to? Do you still serve the train? And are you excited about this train and being on this train?
I love that. Yeah.
It's our responsibility to pour into our teams. It is our responsibility to upskill them and train them when they are a great team member. And it's also our responsibility to part ways when we've outgrown them or they're not into the train that we're building and it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Celi, this has been such an incredible presentation and conversation. If you had just one key takeaway that you wanted to leave with the audience, what would that be?
Oh, of all the things, you guys know my secret is taking action. So I think for early stage entrepreneurs, the biggest thing is what am I spending most of my time on? Just look at your calendar. What are you spending most of your time on? Are you spending a lot of time networking and on coffee chats that lead to nothing? Are you spending a lot of time in content and content creation because you've been told content is a strategy? What are you spending your time on? Or can you start focusing your attention and your energy to some of these departments that I maybe said and you were like, ugh, if I said anything when I went over those seats and you were like, ugh, I hate that, you got uncomfortable in your body, that's probably the thing you need to look at and spend time on. So move towards the discomfort, which is not in our human nature. But as an entrepreneur, we learn new things about human nature. Move towards your discomfort, spend time on the things that you're avoiding and not spending time on. That's what I would say.
Love it, Celi. Thank you so much on behalf of the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center and everyone here today. We are just so grateful that you joined us.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was really fun. You guys are the first to see my framework, so thanks for bearing with me on that one.
Wonderful. Awesome. And to our audience, we would love for you to join us again for upcoming webinars, which you can view using the link that are going to be posted in the chat. And thank you all so much for joining us today. We look forward to welcoming you back online with us soon.